Back with another YouTube video, this time a little bit different to what I've been doing more recently, which has been more educational style with the camera in my bedroom. Back on the vlogs, but I've had to pop out this morning to get an SD card because I didn't have an SD card for the camera because I lost it, because that is just fucking me. If I didn't have my head screwed on, I'd probably fucking lose that and all. But 16-week fat loss phase starts now. We finished a competition prep in September. I've got videos, I've documented the whole process, so if you want to check that out, check out my previous videos. I recorded both the show days as well, so you can see how we actually got on. But during that time, a competition prep is going to be a little bit different to how I'm going to be treating this fat loss phase. This 16-week phase is for me to get as lean as I physically can in 16 weeks without getting to the point of being stage lean, without getting to the point of having heavy legs or brain fog, because I want to perform at my best. I want to feel my best. And I just want to see exactly what I can do by utilizing the same principles that I teach to my clients. Those principles being obviously creating a calorie deficit through your food, making small changes over time, utilizing cardio as an expenditure tool. Cardio is an expenditure tool. It's not the be all end all. You can't out train or out cardio a bad diet. So the main thing is going to be the food, but the cardio is going to be utilized as a tool. Steps also going to be utilized as a tool, making sure that I utilize general expenditure through steps and movement to burn more calories across the week and make changes as of and when I need to. Now, with it being me coaching myself, I can be definitely more hands-on with my changes. But again, every change that I'm going to make is going to be through data. It's going to be through what my body weight is doing, how I'm feeling, how the process is going so far, and making educated decisions rather than utilizing emotions, rather than being emotional, rather than seeing that scale weight go up and going, oh no, I better drop the food some more, I better do some more cardio. No. Every decision that's going to be made is going to be based off of how things are moving across each week, rather than just going off a daily metric or a daily small increase in the scale, because that's irrelevant. I started this diet because I felt like I was in a little bit of a rut with the gaining phase. I was checked out of it, to be honest, fully checked out. And no meal was enjoyable. It's not like the food was that high. I think the food was 3,500 calories daily, which is it's not fucking crazy high. But when you get checked out of a phase, especially a gaining phase, that's when things can get a little bit sloppy. When your appetite's low, you don't want to eat your meals, you're not enjoying your meals, and you don't even want to get creative with your meals because you just want to get the food down. It got to the point when I had a plain chicken breast without any seasoning and some jasmine rice with salt. That's how bad it got. I didn't want that. I want to enjoy the phase that I'm in, and I want to make sure that I'm always progressing in some way, shape or form. And this process is even better because a lot of people do want to lose fat around this time of year. So you can either join me, subscribe to the channel and join me and utilize the tips and the things that I'm going to be doing as I go into detail of everything that I'm going to be doing with the food, with the cardio, with the steps, and apply some of the principles yourself. Only 3.2 pounds down in 3 days. Well, it's the 4th day now. I started on Monday. That's what I look like on Monday. Still see some lines, still see abs and a midsection, and I was 197.8 pounds. It's not a bad look. I just didn't feel great. I just felt a little bit sloppy. I felt like my appetite was just in the bin, and it was in the bin for weeks, and I was just flogging myself trying to get the meals in. But when it comes to this whole process in a longer format, the meals that I'm eating, the changes that I'm making, what my day looks like, morning routine, I want you to follow along and take in exactly what I'm going to be doing, because I'm coaching myself. I will be making the decisions myself. Do you know what's hard about that? Like anyone, I can make emotional decisions based off of changes that I don't necessarily want to see. So say, for example, I wake up in the morning, like everyone, you get a small spike in the scale weight down the line when things are slowing down. I don't want to then be like, oh no, panic mode, or you have a couple of days where weight increase a little bit for no other reason than you're just maybe holding a little bit of water weight through multiple different reasons. I will then just be, like a client, relying on the data that I've tracked each week, understanding the plan that I'm following. And then if I need to make a change, I'll be making a change based off of the data rather than just emotions, because that's the hardest thing to do. And that's why a lot of my clients come to me. It's going to be down to the fact that, one, they just need guidance with what to do. But two, I don't know if you've ever done this, but you might have. Most people go into a fat loss phase with the expectation of absolutely battering the body. They want to do as much as they physically can within the shortest space of time. 16 weeks is 4 months. It's a decent amount of time. It's a decent amount of time for me to get into very good shape while still having a bit of balance. But some people want to get in shape in 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks and put themselves through an extreme diet, which they don't necessarily have the ability to do, because they'll have to do more cardio. Like, their expectations are too high because they'll have a certain idea in their head of how they want to look and how they want to feel, but they'll do too much cardio from the beginning. They'll try and do too many steps from the beginning. They'll cut the calories down aggressively low to the point where they just can't tolerate it, and then they give up and throw in the towel. So that's why any diet of mine in the past, before I became a coach and before I educated myself around fat loss and calorie deficits and all that bollocks, that's exactly what I would do. I would do too much too soon and end up throwing in the towel because I'm just burnt out. I still have a business to run. I still have YouTube videos that I want to create. I still have reels that I want to make, and I want to make sure that I'm cognitively functioning at my best. So to do that, you can't just do loads from the offset and burn yourself out. You need to make the changes when they need to be made. Start relatively aggressively, but not to the point where you're going to burn out. If you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, you know that I competed in September last year, and September was a very tough time because getting stage lean is fucking difficult. Skin to the bone, your arse cheeks hurt when you sit down, you got brain fog, and your legs feel pretty heavy. Now, I don't plan on getting as lean as I did for stage. I don't plan on getting competition lean because I still want to perform my best. I still want to feel my best, and I still want to have some variance and flexibility like I teach my clients to do. I don't want to be someone that has to get stage lean or has to follow the approach of getting stage lean to be able to get in shape, because you don't need to. I still want to utilize one off-plan meal per week, just what I teach my clients. Still having some variance. But will there be some rigidity? Yes. Will there be a little bit less balance than what there would be if I was just macro tracking? Probably. But it's how I like to do things. So for me, I'm going to be following a meal plan. I am going to be utilizing a meal plan to make things seamless for me, because I prefer meal plans in a diet, and for a majority of the gaining phase as well. Mainly because it removes the decision making that I need to make, it removes thinking, and it just allows me to focus on what I need to do rather than consistently going, oh, what should I eat today? Should I have rice? Should I have potatoes? Should I have pasta? Oh, should I have chicken? Should I have prawns? Should I have cod? That does not matter to me. I want to just know, right, meal 1 is this, meal 2 is this, meal 3 is this, meal 4 is this, pre-workouts this, post-workouts this. Sweet. That's what I'm going to be utilising 80 to 90% of the week. But I won't be saying no to social occasions if they come up. And I won't be saying no to an off-plan meal once per week. Why? Because I want to show you what can be done while still having some variance and some flexibility. But I don't want to paint the picture of it's going to be easy. Because no fat loss phase, realistically, at a point, should be easy. And especially the level that I do want to get to, it won't be easy. I want to get pretty fucking lean. I want to drop as much body fat as I physically can, just without getting to the point where my legs are heavy, my arse cheeks hurt when I sit down, and I feel like I can't even think for myself or string a fucking sentence together, because that ain't ever fun. A competition prep is challenging. It's interesting, and a lot of people love to see the process. But it's not what a lot of people would like to stick to. I want to do it where people can relate to what I'm doing, that they can utilise by adopting the same principles that I'm using, by following along how I'm making certain decisions, what I'm doing on a daily basis, and understanding the process itself. What we're going to be doing with the training, the nutrition, and obviously with cardio right now, and what my thought process is behind it all. So, start from the top. Workout training, we are going to be, well, like any other client, I'm going to be on the app myself, so tracking the daily check-ins, doing a weekly check-in, submitting it through the app. And I've got a little timeline there in the bit, you might be able to see it. You can't see it? No, great. Right, well, basically it says 16 weeks and 2 days. It's 16 weeks. But we've got a timeline there that we can work towards, that I can look at every single day to be a reminder of what phase I'm currently in and how long I've got left to push the boat a little bit more if I want to, or slow down if I want to. But that's always useful. And what I find with clients is giving them some sort of timeline that they can work towards, that they can see directly on the app, massively beneficial. Because if you know exactly what you're working towards and you have a time frame, you can't really go wrong. You can't really go wrong because it's always going to be a motivating factor knowing that you're doing something for 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 weeks. You know exactly what phase you're in, and forward planning for the phase afterwards as well is always important. So yeah, 16 weeks. Weight this morning, 194.6 pounds. Monday, 197.8 pounds. Fucking hell, that sounds a bit right. Training, going to be training 5 days a week, which is always the box standard for me. Push, pull, legs, upper, arms. Yeah, pretty box standard really. Obviously, generally for me, that's like 2 days on, 1 day off. Some days might be 3 days on, 1 day off. It all depends on the schedule and my lifestyle during that week. So it's not as rigid as it could be, where it's like Monday we're doing push, Tuesday we're doing back, Wednesday we're resting. No, it's just going to be a case of, based off of how my life is looking during that week, will then dictate what my training is going to look like. So yeah, 5 days a week, but training days can vary. Food at the moment, training day, non-training day foods. You call this calorie cycling, okay? So essentially what that is having more food on the days when you're going to be using more energy. So training days, you're going to require more carbs. You're going to need more food in your body to utilize for training. And it's a way to create a calorie deficit a little bit easier. So the days when you don't need the food as much is going to be when you're resting, when you're just going to be doing steps, doing cardio, or just focusing on the food alone. You're not actually going to need to have a higher amount of calories. So throughout this whole process, there is always going to be 2 separate days, training days and non-training days. And you can even split it up a little bit further if you want to. So down the line, if I want to, and I need a little bit more food on certain days, like a leg day, I might have 3 different days. I might have a higher day, which can be utilized for, or used, saying utilized, you know, sound like I'm middle class. Can be used for leg days, for example, which is obviously going to be a lot more taxing, or days when I'm doing deadlifts. It's how you want to do it. A calorie deficit is a calorie deficit. As long as you're creating that deficit throughout the week, whether that be through your food, through your cardio, through your steps, or through a mixture of it all, you're sweet. So yeah, training day at the moment, 2 days, 2,520 calories, 225 protein, 283.9 carb, bang on, and 50.7 fats. Non-training day, which is today's a rest day, is 2,152 calories, 194 grams of protein, could bump that up a little bit, 242 gram of carb, and 44.5 gram of fat. Now, are the macros going to vary from time to time? Maybe. So with the app, the beauty of this is I can make swaps and changes. So a majority of the meals will stay the same. But if I fancy swapping chicken for cod or swapping chicken for prawns, well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Or if one day I'm really hungry and I want to swap something like cream of rice for oats because it's slower digesting, then I will. So the beauty of the app is I can make changes, but the meal plan is always going to be a staple. Having a set amount of meals that I'm going to eat on a daily basis will be a staple, because like I said, it removes that decision making, the thinking. I just have to look at the plan and then eat, make the food. So keeps it nice and simple. So yeah, that's the food at the moment. And cardio is, like I mentioned, 5 times 20 minutes. So pre or post workout, I know there's a lot going around of don't do your cardio pre-workout because it's going to have a negative impact on your training performance. I get it. It can. But if you're anything like me, sometimes you get to the end of the session and you can't be fucked to do it post-workout. So at the minute I'm doing it pre, or I'm going in on a rest day and utilising one of my rest days to do 20 minutes and then do some steps on the treadmill. It's how you want to make it work. Not everyone wants to get to the end of the session and do cardio. So if that is you, do it pre-workout. The only time I wouldn't do it is if it really is having a negative impact on your training. So if you get anything above 20 minutes and then it starts to dictate how much you can lift, and then it does impact that, that's when I'd start to change it to post-workout, or I'd do it completely separately away from your training, just because it's the last thing that you want, because you need to maintain muscle mass when you're dieting. And to do that, your training performance needs to stay as high as it physically can, because what built the muscle keeps the muscle. So that's what we need to focus on. But for now, 20 minutes pre-workout is cushy. But yeah, that is it. So 5 days training, 2 different sort of days with food, training day, non-training day, and cardio is at 5 times 20 minutes. Every check-in will be on a Monday. So I'll wake up, take photos in the morning, and then look at them. Then check the data for the week, so see what body weight's done for the week on average, see how I've assess how I felt throughout the week as well. But I'm mostly going to be going off data rather than emotions and rather how I'm feeling. So I'm not going to go, oh, I'm really tired, I could do with a refeed. No, it won't be that. I'll have a look at other factors. I'll have a look at my sleep. I'll have a look at my stress. I'll see what meal timings have been like. I'll have a look at training performance as a whole and reflect on that for the week. And that's when I'll make decisions. So yeah, just got to keep it nice and simple. It's absolutely Baltic out there. Baltic. It's early Jan. It was snowing last week. Didn't even snow for Christmas. And now it feels like it's minus fucking 15 degrees. But I just want to say to finish off the video, do not make this one diet mistake. Don't do too much too soon. Make it realistic for you. Have a realistic expectation of what you can stick to. With what I've set, 10k steps per day, 5 times 20 minutes worth of cardio, food in a relatively good spot to the point where I'm not actually hungry yet. I've made it realistic. So I can work my way up to a point where things are obviously going to get tough. Hunger is obviously going to set in, but the main aim is to do this and make this process as seamless as possible and it not be too difficult. Any diet that I've done in the past has failed from doing too much, from setting unrealistic expectations, from making the diet too fast, but having this expectation of getting extremely lean. 16 weeks is more than enough time to get yourself in a decent shape and understand how much you're able to lose per week and reverse engineer. So for me at the beginning, obviously right now I'm 3 pounds down, probably going to be looking at 5 pounds down by the end of the week. The first initial week to 2, you're probably going to lose a little bit more weight if you're being consistent. But as time goes on and things start to taper down and slow down, we're looking at 1 to 2 pounds. That's about the benchmark of where you want to aim for. So for me during this diet, what I want to be aiming for is, if it is 2 pounds per week, doing that over the course of 16 weeks, so 2 times by 16, probably going to be losing around 25 to 30 pounds. I'm probably not going to be 30 pounds because when you get to the 30 pound point, that for me is more stage condition, and that is not where I'm aiming for. So in this diet, I'm probably going to be looking at 20 to 22 pounds. So we can reverse engineer that. We can taper things and slow things down as we get further and deeper into the diet, and that's obviously the main aim. To have control, lose as much as we can initially while motivation's high and whilst hunger is low, and then slow things down towards the back end. But I will not be treating it like prep where, I remember a point in prep, I was sat there, finished all my meals by 4 p.m. I was looking at the ceiling thinking, fucking hell, I've got to wait till tomorrow night to eat my next meal. I will not be doing that. If I finish my meals early and I want something else, I'll just utilise fruit. I'll have some fruit. I'll have something that's going to be low calories. Fucking jelly, anything. Something to kind of keep me going that I can have that's not going to be too high in calories, that is just going to help fill me up a little bit, give me that little bit more satisfaction. Whilst when I was on prep, I didn't do any of that. I just sucked it up, looked at the ceiling, or watched some Netflix and waited till the next day, or worked, sat on my laptop, programming, doing anything I physically could to be able to just get through the day. This time will be different. If I am extremely hungry, I'll have an apple. I'll have some pineapple, 100 to 200 grams of pineapple. I will have some jelly. It's different to a prep. This for me is to show you what can be done without too much rigidity. So yeah, like I said, if you're new around here, make sure that you do subscribe to the channel, follow along, check out my Instagram _ Coach T Coleman. And yeah, many updates are going to be coming in the future. Going to be aiming for about 1 video per week revolved around this process, and then obviously another video per week is going to be educational. So yeah, subscribe if you're new around here. Look forward to the process. I look forward to bringing you along the journey, and I'll catch you in the next one.